And he totally believes that it will allow him to burn fat quicker. And he says ever since he started doing it a few years ago, he has felt more far energetics. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to be thinking to yourself, well, should I start doing this? Because the science has to be there. Simon the Bald A-Hole here, thank you for joining me as always, and today we are going to be talking about professional football players. Now this causes somewhat of an issue for all of us because I have now said football and Americans are going, do you mean American football players? And no, I mean soccer players, but as soon as I say soccer, a bunch of people in the UK go, Simon, we're now going to oust you from our country because you dared use the term soccer, even though if you actually look into it and go into the historical background, the word soccer came from England to begin with, but let's not worry about it. I'm talking about that game when you take your foot and you kick a ball, goes into a goal. And this is mostly because of a couple of diets that I've got out there based on the likes of Robert Lewandowski and Cristiano Ronaldo, who of course are older than your average bear, and yet they keep still smashing it when it does come to the game of professional football. And when we start with a Bayern Munich striker, you will learn that when he eats his food, he eats it backwards. Now the dude is 33 years old and he's in phenomenal shape. Now of course you're going to go, yes, he's got a trainer and he's got this and he's got that. I understand, but he still has to have the dedication, he still has to have the focus, and he has. And he claims this is down to the way that he consumes his food, which is not the way that most human beings would consume their food. Because the backwards eating diet sees the Polish striker and his wife have a sweet treat first at meal times, most likely a brownie, but one only made from pure cocoa. This is followed by rice with meat or fish from select producers, with the meal rounded off by a starter type option of salad or soup. If you were going to go down to the Lewandowski's house, you'd probably be like, hey, what's going on here? Why the hell are you such strange people? Even though really you should be able to eat whatever the hell you want. If you want to get up in the morning and have a plate of cheese, do it. He also makes sure he doesn't have any fried or fast food, no cow's milk or lactose or wheat flour, but vegetable spaghetti, millet and oat porridge are a big plus. Now Lewandowski says that he does this thanks to his wife. It was her idea. She's a personal trainer or something of that ilk, and he totally believes that it will allow him to burn fat quicker. And he says ever since he started doing it a few years ago, he has felt more far energetics. Now all of a sudden you're going to be thinking to yourself, well, should I start doing this? Because the science has to be there. Like when you get into the world of professional football, there is so many millions of dollars and millions of pounds being pumped into it. Some people are going to do crazy stuff, but do not forget that just because it works for him doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. And I would assume the reason it works for him is that his diet 24 hours, 7 days a week is pretty much going to be on point. I'm sure he has a little cheat here and there, but he will be doing so much cardio and he will be doing so much exercise. He will have an update on his blood work and all his medical records to such a constant degree. He knows what he can get away with and he knows what he cannot get away with. So if all of a sudden you start having your brownie first, then you have your pasta, then you finish with some nachos, whatever the hell you're eating, I don't necessarily think you're going to wake up in a week and go, oh my gosh, I'm so big and jacked. I mean, it may happen, but it seems very doubtful. I did my digging as I always do though, and I found this study from the Journal of Experimental Psychology, who did indeed say that indulging in a dessert before a meal could actually lead to healthier eating overall. The study followed 134 people who were eating lunch in the cafeteria. Each participant was offered 4 different dessert options over 4 days, a healthy choice offered in the dining display before the main and side dish options, an indulgent choice offered before the main dishes, fruit displayed after the main meal selections, or cheesecakes after the main meal. However, the trick with this study isn't that all of a sudden it turned your metabolism into some incredible fat-burning furnace. All it did was, because you had started with a cheesecake, when you went to have your main meal, you picked the healthier option because you'd already indulged. When you actually totaled up the total calories, it was on average 250 calories less. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden you can go and eat dessert and you may have been a fat pig and you may have chose the cheesecake and then you may have chose the pizza and then you would have screwed yourself, but it just goes to show you can find whatever the hell that you're looking for. And if you do want to try it, go absolutely nuts. But that could just be it. Maybe Robert Lewandowski and his wife are actually, massive gluttons. So they were like, okay, we'll have our cocoa-only cake, whatever the hell it is, but we'll make sure I have it first, and that way we won't want to make love to a burger. What's more interesting, at least I thought so, is how he's created his bedroom to ensure he gets the best sleep possible. Because as we talk about in fitness and bodybuilding and football and sport, whatever, rest and recovery is completely overlooked all of the damn time. If you are not resting and you're not recovering and you're not allowing your cortisol levels to come down, of course it stands to reason that you're not going to grow and you're not going to see the gains and the progress and the evolution that you're looking for. So there are no blue lights or TV screens allowed in his bedroom, and while special scents are placed in the resting areas, it is not allowed to be warmer than 21 degrees. The couple also have a special mattress that helps them get their shut-eye. So he's on it, he knows what he's doing, but this is nothing compared to one Cristiano Ronaldo. Because I've heard about this before, and all of a sudden, I guess because he's gone back to Manchester United, it's made the papers again. He doesn't aim for 8 hours of sleep a night, unlike Robert Lewandowski, and instead he sleeps in 5 90-minute sleep cycles. And I would love to try and divulge this to you, but I heard the person behind it, the mastermind, explaining it, and I sat here pretty much in the position I'm sitting now, and my face started to melt because I had no idea what he was going on about, apart from I understood REM sleep and rapid eye movement, and that's the kind of sleep you want to get into, because that's when you're at your deepest part. But the rest of it, I was just like, huh. What this this kind of ties into, though, is what we've already talked about, in the sense that Ronaldo also has brand new sheets every time he sleeps. And nobody else is going to be able to do that. And because you're not a professional sportsman or an elite sportsman, if you are, welcome, it's nice to have you here, you're just not going to have the time and you're not going to have the leeway in order to find 5 times throughout the day when you can do 90-minute naps, whatever you want to call them. And I bet he probably is going to sleep at night as well. So all of this is just reserved for that very small 1-2% who are able to make their fitness a damn priority before anything else, because it's making them billions of dollars. He's also going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, and he focuses on 25 to 30 minutes of HIIT cardio, but he doesn't need to do any more of that because, again, he's running around a football pitch at least once a week, and he has training doing the football as well. And when it comes to his diet, I really don't think it's that crazy. Now, that's only because you and I are into bodybuilding and fitness. To the more, I don't know, casual watch, I suppose, like, oh my gosh, this is nuts, but it really isn't. Because for breakfast, he has cheese and ham and a low-fat yogurt. For brunch, he has chicken and salad. For lunch, he has tuna, olives, eggs, and tomato. He has a snack of some fruit and avocado on toast. For supper, it's fresh swordfish and salad. And dinner is steak and calamari. So as you can see, it's really, really high in protein and it's really low in carbs. So if you ever look at Cristiano Ronaldo and go, man, he's such a specimen. Yes, of course he is. But he's also just following a very standard practice that if you did as well, you also could be ripped. He also apparently is 7% body fat. That's a bit of information I found out when I was reading about this. He is 7% body fat, which is probably true, especially if you look at this picture that he took the other day when he scored for Portugal and thought, you know what, I've got some abs, I'm going to rip my top up. But it goes to show, there it is. Do you have to sleep? Absolutely. Do you need to be eating high protein meals constantly throughout the day? Yes, that's absolutely going to help, but of course you could do it in 3 as well. And do you have to ensure that you're sustaining your diet and your fitness? Yes. And do you have to ensure that you're dedicated and disciplined? Of course you do. It's all the same kind of thing. Now again, you could argue it's actually easier for these guys because they're getting paid to do it. When you get paid to do something, that's the ultimate motivator. But I also think that's a really ridiculous thing to say because it always comes from them and your brain, and loads of people get paid loads of money and they don't necessarily do that. So I thought it was kind of fascinating. I thought it kind of interesting. Like Robert Lewandowski is the ultimate one because he's backwards eating. And what else could you do when it came to backwards eating? I suppose it's all right when it comes to dinner. It doesn't really work with breakfast, does it? Because I guess most people would have their cereal and then have their toast. But if I saw someone having their toast and then eating their cereal, I'd be like, yeah, okay. So really, it's just dinner that we as a human race have given these weird rules to, and we shouldn't, and you should be able to do whatever the flub you want. Also, just to give you another bit of insight into Ronaldo's life, he has a 50,000-pound cryo chamber in his house, which he can just jump into 3 minutes at any point of the day in order, once again, to get the optimum rest and recovery. And then there's some chump ball like me who has to just stand in the shower and push cold. And of course, if you watch the Euros, you know that he doesn't drink alcohol and he absolutely doesn't drink any sugary drinks. I mean, he moved that Coke away. He's like, water, water, drink water. And that's another good piece of fitness advice you can take on. Nobody's drinking enough water. Do not forget your muscles need water in order to operate properly and therefore in order to grow. So you can take a lot away from these kind of things. And it always surprises me when people go so nuts. How are they doing it? How are they doing it? He's just using all the tools of the trade that have been around for years. Now, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell, ding, ding, so you know when other videos are going live. There is another video on the screen. Please do give it a click. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Simon316. I would appreciate the follow. I also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Simon316 if you'd like to support me that way. SimonMiller.BigCartel.com for merchandise. I've got Gerald the Fitness Mascot tees. I've got Fitness Palace of Love tees. I've got BLC tees. I've got the Flexus tees, the greatest pun I've ever come up with. I would appreciate you buying one should you want one, obviously. I'm in Greg Doucette's new cookbook. Make sure you check out the link in the description below. Also on Cameo, if you want my face right up in your face, we can make love. Shouldn't have said that, I regret it. Either way, you take care. See you soon.